Welcome to 10 Years Out, Stories from My Queer Community. I am your host, Sam, and my pronouns are she, her, and I identify as queer, and it is my 10 years out. And here with me today, I have the immense pleasure of welcoming my wonderful mother, Diane.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm glad to be invited.
I'm glad you wanted to come on. Okay, so the preliminary questions. What are your pronouns and how do you identify?
She, her, and heterosexual. And mom.
Yes, and mom, of course. Okay, so big question. What have you learned since I came out 10 years ago?
Since you invited me or asked me if I could come on your podcast, and I knew it was going to be today, I was like going through all these thoughts and memories, and I will never be done going through all of that because it's like you're the most important thing in my life, most important person in my life. And you always have been. And I think about how, oh, gee, I've learned a lot. First of all, I learned a lot about myself. And you would think that a mother, a person who became a mother at 33, you would think, oh, shoot, she's sort of old. She probably already knows herself. She's not in her teens or 20s. And, I probably thought I knew myself too. Yeah. But the funny thing is, even at 73, almost 74, I find myself learning all the time. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. It's just a matter of you'd like to get to the point where you could say, at least when you're in your 70s, I got a certain amount of this figured out. You'd like to pat yourself on the back once in a while and go, yeah, this chunk, I got it down. And at this point, I guess that's not even plausible. But to be specific, I've learned that I can't blame, I'd like to say after listening to your podcast, I haven't listened to all of them, but I've been listening to each one. I'd like to say that, oh, gee, it's my reaction to you coming out is the fault of, and point at one thing. Oh, the fault of being raised in, well, I don't know if it's a Methodist church, being raised, I wouldn't even say evangelical, because when I was raised as a Methodist, evangelical wasn't even a word. I mean, it was like that became a word when I came down south and, went to Baptist churches. So I would say that wasn't even discussed very much when I was growing up. I mean, I don't remember it being discussed at any point, at home, at church, in school. I don't remember ever having a discussion about it. I mean, it didn't seem to be relevant or an issue or whatever in my life or anyone I knew, really. But anyway, so bottom line is I'm not going to be pointing a finger at religion per se, because it wouldn't be valid. Yes, I was raised very conservatively, but I'm not, I just, the thing that I realized in the process of trying to be a good mother, which I sort of prided myself on being a good mother. One, I failed when you told me that you were gay, although now you say queer, so I should change probably the word in my vocabulary. But anyway, I failed. I failed as a mother, and I failed as a friend, and I failed as whatever. I was not worth dealing with. And I don't even know how long I was in that funk, or whatever you want to call it. You might know the length of time. I don't even want to know the length of time. It was too long. But after going through that period of time where I was disappointed, angry, pouty, whatever, being obnoxious, not giving you any support at all. I finally got to the point, it wasn't a rational thing. It wasn't a if this, then that. It wasn't a logical thing. It wasn't somebody talking to me and convincing me of anything, because everybody was just who they are, period. So it wasn't an outside influence that made me realize what I was doing. I mean, this is going to sound like a religious comment, and I don't want to turn anybody off, but I really think there's this still small voice inside. And if you call it intuition, or you call it God talking to you, whatever you call it, at some point, God said, "Are you disappointed in what I've given you?" Wasn't me saying it to myself. I didn't read it in a book. Nobody else externally said it to me. So where that voice came from, I don't know. It was very small voice, but I couldn't ignore it. And I thought, absolutely not. I am not disappointed in what had been given to me in my life. The audacity of me being disappointed. Oh no. Oh no. And then from that point on, it wasn't a matter of being ashamed of myself. It was a matter of realizing all the gifts I've been given. And one of the major gifts of my life is having you for a daughter. And so then I go back and I think, what is your problem, Diane? What in heaven's name are you having a problem with? And I go, ah, well, part of your problem is that you really know how to pout. And part of your problem is, and I could list a million things, but they're my problems. They're my personality. They're my flaws. They're things I need to fix that are all about my personality and who I am, not you. And when I stand back and I look at you and I think about you and I get to talk to you and I get to be with you, I am so unbelievably blessed to have you in my life, to have you for my daughter, to have you for my friend, and to have you always in a position of not superior, but always able to teach me something, always able to teach me whatever, how to do Wordle better, how to cook better, maybe, or think about it, how to not be afraid of something because you have so much courage. Whatever it is, I'm learning from you. And I don't know if you're done learning from me. I guess I really don't care anymore. I've been around a long time, but I've learned a lot, and I continue to learn a lot because of who you are. And I think, would I have the courage to do anything like what you've done? I used to think, would I have the courage to travel the way you've traveled and explore the world? And I knew the answer to that was no. Obviously, no, no, no. But honestly, the courage it takes to constantly be dealing with people and be in a position of not defensiveness, but vulnerability, and trying to assess whether you're in a highly vulnerable situation or a non-vulnerable, or the degree of vulnerability every single day with all kinds of relationships, and then assessing whether that impacts a personal relationship, a business relationship, whatever. All of the energy, all of the power it takes to deal with life that way is extraordinary. And I mean, it's sad that you have to spend that much of your energy dealing with that, because it's a real waste of potential. It's a real waste, besides being a tough way to live. But do I admire you? Do I admire the courage it takes not only to admit you're gay? That's a one-time thing. Then it goes on and on and on, day after day after day, in the way you live your life. And that is incredible to have to do that. That is a lot of work. And I admire the dickens out of you. I think it'd be, in a way, so much easier to hide, in a way, so much easier to shrug your shoulders and just mosey on through life without having podcasts, without reaching out, without going outside and walking in a parade, without, I mean, you're not hiding, and you're choosing when and where and how to be you. And if somebody has to go through life choosing consciously when, where, and how can I be me, that is really, really, really sad and really hard work. And anything I can do to be more aware of that and be more supportive, I will do until the day I die.
Oh, I love you, Mom.
I love you too.
So one of my core memories is being in France and coming across that Pride March that was happening wherever we were. She does travel a little bit, people. We have been to France and Scotland and England together, so it's not nothing. But there was this Pride March. We must have been there in June, and I was like, I really want to march in it. And then you decided to march in it, and I'm curious what your experience in that was.
First of all, there were so many people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was well attended. I mean, there was no, I don't know where the beginning and the end of it was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was, the streets were full. And I don't know, I just sort of enjoyed, walking, you know. But I don't remember, probably didn't understand half of what was being said. France, yeah, memory of French. But it didn't seem like a hostile situation.
Mm-mm.
I don't remember anybody on the sidelines doing anything other than whatever you do at a parade.
Cheering.
Yeah, or just standing there smiling or whatever they did. I don't know. There were a lot of people, though. It was very well attended.
Yeah. Is
What
there
do you
any,
remember?
just that it happened and I was happy to be marching with you and have
Mm,
you next to me.
mm,
And it wasn't something I thought would happen.
mm.
So it was really special for me.
It was an adventure.
Yeah.
Another part of an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about, what you've learned?
I don't know. I just think it's ongoing. I don't think it's gonna be something like, okay, you're doing the podcast now. But I think all of the people that you talk to, I bet you they'll all have other things to say, different things to say if you do it periodically. I think there's a lot of value to doing something like this, and I'm not very familiar with podcasts, as you well know. But I would think if there are other parents out there, let's just say there are other parents, right?
Yeah.
If another parent watched this podcast and went, huh, I know her, or she sounds like me, or, it might actually, I mean, I hope some of these help, is what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know where else you go to talk about this. I don't know, maybe there's places you can actually have conversations like this, but usually you probably have to pay for them. And you probably have to go to counseling or something to get, I don't know. It's not like there's a venue for discussing things like this. But if I had listened to something like this years ago, maybe, and the mother sounded like me or some of my thoughts, boy, it would have made me feel, better, because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't I didn't have any role model for how to respond.
Mm-hmm. There is an organization called PFLAG. It's not in every city, although I think they would probably like to be in every city. But it's parents and family of lesbians and gays. Kind of an antiquated name, but um, that's historically been the parental and family outlet for getting together with other people who are going through something similar.
Yeah, and bottom line is I expected more from myself. I mean, you're gracious enough to have forgiven me. But if you would have asked me when I first became a mom how I would respond, I would have thought, oh yeah, I'm cool. I'm a Democrat. I'm whatever. Yeah, fine.
Mm-hmm.
I was not cool. I was still a Democrat, but I was not cool. I was not as cool as I thought I was.
Mm-hmm.
No, no, I was not. I didn't really care about you as much as I thought I did. I cared more about me, which really sucks. So anyway, I'm sorry, Sam, that you have an imperfect mother, but
We are all imperfect.
I love you. I love you dearly. And I admire you.
Do you have any advice for any other parents out there?
Don't be afraid to talk to somebody about it. I mean, don't be afraid to talk to somebody, because it really would help,
Mm-hmm.
rather than mulling stuff around in your mind for days, hours, weeks, whatever,
Years.
years. Yeah. We're not keeping track.
No.
No.
What do you wish people understood?
How vulnerable it is to be in a position where you have to constantly assess the conditions, the circumstances, in order to know how to live. I can't, yeah, I can't, you can barely imagine how hard it is when you're not in that position. And why waste all that human potential on logistics like that
Mhm.
when you could actually be applying it to making everyone's life better? Why waste it like that? It's criminal.
Do you have a quote or song lyric that you would like to send us out on?
I'll just say this, don't be afraid to forgive yourself and other people. Don't be afraid to forgive.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Mm.
Thank you to everyone who is listening and watching out there. Give this episode a like, rate the podcast, share it with friends,
Moms.
maybe families.
Yeah.
And until next time, bye.
Bye.